A lot of show today. By the way, we're on Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. Chris Herren played college basketball and was in the NBA and toyed around with that for a while. But he had a troubling life. It's back together again, thank God. Chris, are you there? Chris, how are you, man?
I'm great, brother.
Good to talk to you. It's been a while. And Chris is doing great things. You know, Andrew Spanswick is here and Steve Gutenberg is here. And we were talking earlier about we love people that have a problem and hit a bottom of sorts and then or a bottom period and then do something about it. What happened to you?
You know, I think I've always had the problem. It just took me a while to recognize it and address it. I was a high school kid who started off like most, you know, drinking in the woods or down in a basement, and that, you know, the unnatural or natural transition, whatever you want to call it, you know, obviously went down to cocaine in college and painkillers in the NBA and heroin as well. You know, I was 22 and I spent $20 on a 40 milligram Oxycontin, and I had never heard of it. And that $20 turned to $20,000 a month habit.
Wow.
So, Chris, did you start your drug use through regular prescriptions besides the Oxycontin that you bought? Like, as an athlete, did you have injuries, and that bring you into being exposed to these kinds of medications? Or
no, I mean, I grew up in a city where, you know, parents had Vicodins around, you know, right. Percocets. You heard older kids in your neighborhood talking about it.
Raid the
bathroom
cabinet. I did that too.
Yeah.
What city did you grow up in, Chris?
I grew up in Fall River, Massachusetts. South coast of Massachusetts, and you know it's an old mill town, textile mill town, and big on basketball, and I got caught up in that lifestyle a little bit, and having no idea I had the bug. You know, and like most of us.
Oh, yeah, me too. It hit me like a train. You know, after a while, I was just having fun, I thought.
Right.
And most of it was,
I speak quite a bit, and you know, high school kids all over the country, college athletes, so on and so forth. And, you know, I said, listen, I sat in the same basement you're sitting in that your mother tells you it's safe down there as long as you don't drive. Some come out of the basement, some don't. I was one that got stuck down there for a while.
Chris Herren's with us, the pride of Durfee High School, by the way, in Fall River, and now he started the Herren Project, which after his, shall we say, fall, decided to help other people. It's been ridiculously successful. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Chris Mullen and his wife helped me when I was struggling, and
Chris went through it. You know?
Sure. And when I got sober, I wanted to give back, and I felt bad for the families who didn't have the resources to go to treatment, whether it was lack of insurance or what insurance companies would pay, or just lack of resources in general. So we started raising money and helping families and putting them in positions where they could, you know, get affordable treatment, if not free. As well as, you know, putting them in treatment centers that we believe was best fit to them. I think that model, you know, I heard the introduction about AA and different models of treatment. You know, I think one thing that has to change is that treatment centers need to disclose, you know, who's in there and the age and the sex and the substances that are currently being treated. You know, it's really hard for an alcoholic to sit in a room that's 55 years old with a bunch of 20-year-old heroin addicts.
Yeah, Chris, you know, it's interesting because the industry, nonprofit and for-profit for that matter, is driven by different types of demand. And, you know, there's some people that believe that, like Betty Ford, that women should be treated separately from men. We now have a proliferation of treatment centers that actually help just young adults. There's actually now treatment centers that just treat young adults that have relapsed, which I thought was an interesting sort of new thing. So, I own a bunch of different rehabs. They all do different types of treatment, have different sort of what we call treatment milieus. So, the type of people that are there and then the type of treatment that goes on. And you're absolutely right. It's really important that you're able to put the right client in the right type of treatment, because it's not just one size fits all the time.
And not to mention the fact that you're asking a struggling, heartbroken mom to, drop $35,000 blind.
Yeah.
And as you said in the opening, 9-10% chance of getting sober, and to not have the data backing up your decision on whether or not to send your loved one to that center, I think is unfortunate, and I think that's what people need.
There's a lot of great things happening in the treatment industry because of electronic medical records, where everything goes into a computer. Everything is now much easier to track, and the insurance companies are starting to think about payment only based on outcomes. So there's the development of outcome data, of metrics, that pieces of information that tell us what's important and what's not, is becoming a very, very important part of the addiction treatment field going forward. So I think you're going to see not only that we're going to have more data and the negatives and the positives, but eventually what we're going to see is that data is actually going to be able to use to perfect and create better outcomes through what we learn about what works and what doesn't. So I'm really excited about the future. I think that, we're just at the beginning of the treatment of addiction and mental health, for that matter. We know so little still, and there's so much to learn, which I think in a strange way is disappointing as that sound, also should give people a great sense of hope as to what can be developed in the future.
Ironically, Chris's book is called Basketball Junkie, which everybody pretends to be this time of year. But I love you for what you're doing, the HerrenProject.org. And you go on there, look about it. It's a beautiful website. And, man, you're walking the walk and talking the talk. I like it. It's the biggest assist you've ever given.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Take care, love.
There he goes, Chris Herren, who had his problems and took care of them, we like that.